welcome back to the podcast. As you can see, we're not in the studio today. We are in our basement. TBT. To the basement days. We are going to start off with a very brief introduction, maybe some weekly updates if Sam has, and then we are going to get into the episode because we have a special guest on. So yeah.
So I don't really have any weekly updates.
I don't know why I'm holding it like this.
I don't really have any weekly updates other than the fact that I had major anxiety today.
I've been having major anxiety.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Like, let me know if you guys have been feeling this way, but something in the air, I'm just getting, like, I'll wake up, I'll do my whole morning routine, and then I'll just get this, like, random burst of what the fuck am I doing? Like, with just, like, my life in general.
It's called something. It's called, what's it called? An existential crisis?
No, but it's not, because, like, when I look at the things individually in my life that I have and I'm grateful for, like, I'm happy about it. But then there'll be these moments of, like, I don't know what it is, but I think I'm starting to experience panic attacks. I've never had panic attacks. I've only ever had anxiety attacks, and I know that they're different because, actually, I have had panic attacks when I was, like, really young. But anxiety attacks for me are more so, like, I'm just, like, anxious for a prolonged period of time. I'll call that, like, an anxiety attack. But when I'm having a panic attack, it's like physical. Like yesterday I was at a birthday party and I'm not joking, I was looking at my fucking watch, my heart rate was at 105 sitting down, and I started feeling like I was eating and I'm shaking, and I'm like,
that was like me. I think I'm starting to get social anxiety. Like being out or going out gives me, I don't know, it's weird. I've never been like that ever. I've always been like a person who loves to go out, loves to do whatever, but I was at like a birthday too, well, like my best friend's birthday, and I felt bad because I kept getting, I had to leave the table I think 3 times. I was having actual anxiety attacks in the bathroom, and I'm like, why am I feeling this way? It was kind of chilly in the restaurant, but I noticed that I was like abnormally cold. Like I was literally like this, shivering, and then my feet started to go numb. And I asked one of my friends who also like, you know, gets anxiety attacks often. She's like, you're literally having a panic attack. And I was like, for what though? It might have been like the music, it was loud in there, and like I've had kind of like a rough week, or I've been like thinking a lot about things. So all of that bottled up made me anxious. So I've learned that if I'm having a tough week or an anxious week and I know I have to go out to do something before that will allow me to kind of like breathe and be with my thoughts and emotions for a little bit. Because I literally the whole week I like was prepping for this interview, and I'm really nervous about it because I really, really wanted, and I feel like that was in the back of my head too. And I was doing prep for that the whole weekend, and then I went out both Saturday and Sunday without having kind of time to like fathom my thoughts and like my feelings around it. So I don't know. I've just been having really weird social anxiety lately.
To be honest, I feel like I'm feeling that too. Like there's just so many things going on in my life, like either things that I'm working towards or want to achieve or thinking about doing, that I'm getting overwhelmed with myself. Again, like this happens to me so often where I get overwhelmed with my like goals, not goals, or like just like what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's just so much going on that I'm excited for, nervous about, scared about, that it's just all fucking crumpled up into a ball and just sitting at the pit of my fucking stomach, and it'll come up at random times. Like literally at this birthday party yesterday, I started eating, I'm just like this, and Roman was like, dude, why are you shaking? Like, are you hungry? I'm like, I'm not even that hungry, like, I don't know what it is. Then I look at my fucking watch, and I'm going like this, and I literally felt like I was gonna pass out, and I don't know what it is, but like you just said, I think it's because, you know, like, I worked all week, and then I was doing so many things after work last week, like, right after work, even today. I love that we're recording the podcast, I'm so grateful we get to do it, but I finished work, and within 10 minutes of finishing work, I got ready and, like, came on the podcast. Like, I haven't even had a second to, like, breathe, and I feel like my life has been like that lately. On the weekends we have so many family things and we're doing so many things, and then like Monday you wake up and it's straight back to work again. And do we really ever have time for ourselves?
I think I get what you're saying, but I think for me, my thing is that I don't like to go out anymore. I don't know, I just do not like to, I don't know, I like to go out, but I think when it hits a certain time, it hits a certain point where I'm like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be out anymore, I start to like, that gives me anxiety.
I think we need to start honoring that.
I know, because I was talking to my other friends, and she's like, maybe you're just growing up. Maybe you're just like, you know,
it's
like,
true.
It's kind of just like, I've even become more conscious about like my money situation. Like I'll spend I used to not give a fuck about spending money. Like, I did not care because I was like, money comes and goes. I still think that, I'm still trying to like.
It's true, but
have
sometimes you want to
relationship,
allocate your money to some other places.
But sometimes I realize I'm spending money on things. It's like, what? Like, why do I need to spend money on this right now? Like, I'm 23. I want to start saving for trips, for future plans. I don't have a full-time job yet. Manifesting that I get this one here, but whatever. I don't know. I think all that put together just made me realize that, like, sometimes going out, like, I want to keep it to like a once, maybe twice a month thing. Not every single time somebody says something that I'm like, yep, I'll go.
Can I say something off the record? Not off the record, like on the record. You keep saying, like, if you get this full-time job or a full-time job, that's not going to change. Like, getting a full-time job, working like for a corporation or something, isn't going to change the way that you feel about any of these things. It may make you feel a bit more secure, but I don't agree with the fact that, because I'm not trying to be, my sister hates when I do like, oh, I used to be like this, because she's like, you're only like 3 years older than me, which is true, but I'm just like letting you know, like, I felt that same way. I remember the summer of 2020, I was like, I just graduated and like, I need to get my first job. What am I doing with my life? I'm going to feel so much better. I'm going to feel like I'm on track. And then so many other things happen, like the podcast, like real estate.
No, I know.
Shit,
I'm not saying that like once I get it, I'll love to go out again. Like, I just think that like, and I'm not saying that's like I need that for stability. I'm saying in general. Like,
I'm just saying don't rely on that to bring you
No,
happiness.
I'm not relying on that. My whole premise is that like I've recently realized that I do not like to go out as much as I did before, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't care if people call me lame. I just don't enjoy. I just don't like it as much unless like obviously I was celebrating my friend's birthday, so like I loved being there for her and like celebrating with her.
Even if you're celebrating your friend's birthday, like if your friends are truly your friends, they will appreciate that you made it out. And like sometimes your friends don't. I mean, maybe some of you are like super, super close with your friends, and maybe some of you aren't. I personally don't mention every little aspect of my life to all of my friends.
I definitely have friends where I do that.
There are some friends where you do that, but then some of them you don't, right? Like you're going out for their birthday and they have no clue what you're going through behind closed doors, whether it's personally, like familially, financially, career-wise. Like they don't, look at this hair sticking out. They don't really know, you know what I mean? Like what's going on behind closed doors. So if your friends are truly your friends, they'll appreciate the fact that like you came out for them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree.
Because I'm feeling the same way on Saturday. All day I was working on like keeping a cento stuff because I was like, you know what? Like I said, it was back to back all week. Saturday, I'm like, let me just devote this day to this. I love doing it, obviously, because this is like our passion project and like I love to do this stuff. But at the same time, I also feel like I didn't have a mental break. And then at night, we went out with our friends. And again, I was so excited. Me and Roma were like, yay, we get to go for tacos with our friends. But at 11 o'clock, we were like, okay, we're gonna leave. We had a good couple hours and it was super fun. And you know what? Like I got home and I'm like, this is adulting.
No,
like,
that's how I felt. So at a certain hour, like a time hit, and I was like, I genuinely cannot, like, I feel sick. I
need my bed.
I need my bed. I want to be home, but obviously, like, I stuck it out. But I think I'm realizing, like, you don't need to stay out till 2, 3 in the morning in order to have a good time.
There's a time and place. Sometimes you might, but sometimes you won't. And I think that you need to get better at just being like, I'm gonna head.
Oh my God.
I same here, though. Like, I honestly don't.
I think it's just part of growing up, and I think it's just part of maturing, so.
We are going to be talking to Alessias Scauzillo. She is the CEO, founder, and owner of A Sculpt Body.
We won't get too much into it because we want her to explain. She touches on some really important topics I feel like will resonate with a lot of our listeners. So, yeah, let's get right into it.
So, as you guys know, today we have Alessia on the podcast. I don't want to butcher your last name. We're Italian too, but I still want to make sure that I don't butcher it. So how do you pronounce your last name?
Scauzillo.
Scauzillo. Okay, so we have Alessias Scauzillo on the podcast today.
Yeah.
You're an entrepreneur. You are the founder of A Sculpt Body, and you're a real advocate for women's fitness and kind of, from what we've researched, kind of meeting confidence, like to be able to be confident in working out with efficiency as well.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. So we're super interested in your business and what you do, but we kind of want to know more about you as a person. So we're wondering if we can scale it back to how you kind of started this business all the way from the beginning. We read that you were in corporate finance at first, and then you transitioned. I don't know if you're completely out of corporate finance, but you transitioned into starting this business, and now it's full-fledged. So can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. And I am fully out of finance now. I'm running my business full time.
Okay,
which
cool.
I love. I love a lot. I did both for a while, and it was really hard, and I was super burnt out. So I'm very happy to be on the path that I am now. But taking it back even more, I was never athletic growing up at all. Like my whole family was athletic. My brother played like pretty high level hockey. My parents worked out, and I just was not. My parents would always try and encourage me, and I think I just never really found what I loved. And then my mom actually passed away when I was 20 years old from skin cancer, and that was a really, really like hard. Thank you. Really hard time in my life. I was in university. I feel like my mom and I were just coming out of this phase of like me being a teenager and us just like fighting about everything. And then she passed away. So it was really tough. And a few months after she passed, the workout studio that she was like a avid member at, she went almost every day while she was healthy. They hosted this charity class in her honor to raise money for the hospital that she had been treated at. And I went to this event to like support because I was like, this is so nice. And I did the workout and like nearly died. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah, we should.
Okay. I nearly fucking died. Like I remember so vividly being like, I'm about to pass out. And what's so funny is that every other woman in there was like 40, 50, 60, because this was like a more like mature crowd. And my mom was 48 when she died. And like, they were all killing it. And I was like, it was such a turning point for me. Like I left that class being like, something needs to change because this is embarrassing. Like my mom was doing this and she was healthy. And even when she was sick, like the days that she was okay, she would go in, it made her feel good. And I was like, something needs to change. So I started working out a little bit and then graduated school, started my career in finance. I'm a CPA. I worked at PwC in accounting for a while. And then I worked in finance at RBC for several years too. So when I was working, I worked almost 10 years in finance, actually. It was like definitely my career trajectory for a very long time. So when I started working, it was like a lot in a toxic work environment, especially at RBC, and really stressful. And working out was like the highlight of my days. At the beginning, I would work out after work. And then almost every day I would miss it because something would come up at work and like I would have to stay late. And so I started learning that if I wanted to do something important, I had to do it in the morning because no one would bother you before like 8:39. So I would work out most mornings, and it really was like what was saving me in an otherwise pretty tough environment. And not to say that I didn't thrive, like at work, like I did well, I think, on the outside, but I didn't love it. Like I think I could put up with it, and I would do well in deals and all but I didn't love it at all.
Right.
Like it
didn't like fuel you.
No, not at all. And it was like every day I would have to like convince myself, like pep talk, like, okay, you can do this, and I would come home crying from work all the time. Toward the end, I worked for this boss that was like the worst and made me feel so dumb no matter what I did. And it was just toxic, I would say, is the best word to describe it.
Okay.
And so I was falling in love with fitness and decided just as like a for fun thing that I would get trained in teaching fitness and start teaching classes on the side. And I loved it, I was doing it in person. I was managing both finance and fitness. I would like run out of my finance job, run to teach a class, and then like work from home the rest of the night, whatever it was chaos. And I loved it so much that I was like, oh my gosh, this is something I might want to like do. And two things. One, I was like, I don't think I can make a career out of this teaching in studio. Like, I don't want to be that person who's training people at 6 a.m. and then at 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. at like before and after work. And like, you don't make that much money. So how can I do this in a way that's like, my business mind was going. And then I also was doing all these classes that were super high impact and was getting injured a lot. So I was like, okay, I think I need to make my own like different method that is still really effective, but keeps the body safe. Like, why are my knees like breaking? I was like going to a sports doctor and he was like, they're just like,
I feel
your
that.
knees are in, the doctor was like, I did all these tests and he was like, you don't have anything torn. You literally, it's just inflammation. Like you're jumping too much.
Yeah.
And so out of that was born my online fitness platform. That's all low impact workouts. And that is called asculptbody.com. And now I have over 200 workouts, a lot is body weight. but there's also props. They range in time from like 10, 15 minutes to 50, 55 minutes. And they're all online and great to take with you on the go, kind of wherever you are. And I had been planning that for a little bit before COVID, because this was all like in progress. And then COVID hit like 3 weeks before I was supposed to officially launch my business, which was obviously like for the world and myself terrible, but for my business, it was the right time. I was already ready. Like I had been planning to launch for months. So I was teaching live classes all the time at the beginning of COVID, and those were taking off. And then I launched my business, and I did both finance and fitness for another like 6 months, a year, I think, after that.
Wow.
And then it became so much. I was so burnt out. I like was a shell of a person. I feel like I wasn't giving either job my all. And so after much deliberation, I feel like this part of the story is like often overlooked. It's like, oh, I decided to quit my finance job. It's like, no, it actually took like so long to get comfortable with that. And then I quit, and now I've been doing my full-time fitness, running my fitness business full-time. And also I'm a content creator. I've been doing that for like almost 2 years full-time now. So yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah,
honestly.
it is.
And I do want to touch upon like some of the highlights of that are definitely that like your love for fitness wasn't always there, but it kind of grew from your mom, you know. Once she passed, you were like it almost like keeps you connected to her in a way. So that's really cool. But I want to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just to jump in there, at the beginning often I would be in my workout trying to do the last couple reps, and I would often push myself by saying like, if my mom can do this, so could I. Like, I'm going to do 5 more, you know?
Yeah.
And that really helped me in the beginning.
No, and I think that's like a beautiful part of the story. So
I think it's also important because like how you said, like you didn't like it at first or it wasn't into fitness, that like just because you don't like something doesn't mean you can't grow to love it over time. And like it became your career and something that you genuinely love to do. So I think that's super important too, because people, I think, assume that like if you're starting a business, you have to love it from the beginning to end, like when you start it, but that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
So true. I'm not an athlete. I do not pretend to be one. I'm a regular girl who fell in love with fitness because I found a way that made it fun. Like, and I connected with the instructors at the beginning. I found the ones I liked, the style I liked, but I do not pretend to be an athlete like at all. And it's intimidating sometimes because like my colleagues are athletes. Like these people are, running, who have their own online or in-person businesses. They're listed in 300 pounds, and I am like, that ain't me. Like, not me, but.
But that's fair because I also work out, but I went through a phase where I like wanted to like heavy lift, but like I would do like, deadlifts, squats, whatever with like heavy weights. And I actually realized that I don't think it's for me or like for my body type. And so I really resonate with that because I find that like low impact or like low weight workouts or even just body workouts, or like I've been into like Pilates recently, like that even helps me. Like I don't have to like lift heavy or be like, lift 300 pounds in order to be like, successful in the gym or when working out. So that's
totally. I think it's like whatever, like you'll do, like if you love lifting heavy, go for it. And sometimes I go through phases where I'm lifting 20, 30, 40 pounds. Like right now, I'm kind of in that phase. I launched some heavier weighted workouts on my site, and I'm doing a lot of like weighted, squats, deadlifts, rows, presses, all these things. But sometimes I'm not. And sometimes I want to throw some ankle weights on and do some leg lifts and things like that. And like, more Pilates, my standard like sculpt style workouts.
Yeah, right.
And I just think it's like whatever you love and whatever is going to get you moving, love it.
And I think also there's like this trend, especially on TikTok, where it's like, it like puts it down. Well, like not as much now. I feel like now people are more like open to it, but I've seen endless things like on TikTok, like with influencers or fitness influencers, where it's like, you need to lift heavy in order to see results, or do like, get a big bum or tone your arms. And I don't think that's necessarily true, like at all. So yeah, I don't know.
Agreed. Totally agree. I think you'll see results with whatever you're doing consistently.
Exactly.
And you'll only do it consistently if you like it.
Yes, that's so true.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something you mentioned in your story about how you went from corporate to starting your own business, because a lot of what we talk about on the podcast is making that change, because there's a lot of us that like, there's a lot of people that come on, or just like a lot of our audience in general, they have their side businesses or side hustles. And some people, maybe not all, but some people want to be able to make that their full-time gig because it's something that they genuinely love. So I kind of want to know, what was the mindset shift that got you from that place of, you had a secure job, you know, like the security was there. You had, I'm assuming you worked at RBC, you had your benefits, you had all this, you had a steady salary. Like there's a mindset shift that needs to happen from going from this secure, probably, I don't want to assume, but a good paying job at RBC to starting your own business from the ground up. And I think a lot of people are fearful of making that shift. So I kind of want to know your advice for people out there who maybe want to make that shift.
Totally. I went from making a really amazing, healthy 6-figure salary to, in the beginning, making literally zero. In fact, negative, because I was spending and investing so much in my business. And I really think it came down, I mean, there's a lot of factors, but it came down to this. I couldn't live my life without seeing the possibility of doing this full time, like without trying it. Like I was thinking about, like, will I regret it if I don't at least give this a full try, 100% effort? And the answer was yes. And there was so many scary things around that. There was like, it was like, you know, the financial security, but also my ego, like, you know, I'm not going to have any money. They're like, you know, what are people going to say about
You're going to have to tell your family that I no longer work in this like great position.
You know, and you know what? I swear to God, it took me like, I don't know, a year before I started. If people ask me what I did, I didn't start with, well, I used to be in finance and now I do this. Like it literally took me a year to get out of that habit. I feel like even sometimes it slips out. It's like, no, I have a fitness business and it's a legitimate business. I feel like to a lot of people, especially older, they viewed what I was doing as this like dinky little thing that like they just like didn't understand. So it was a lot of getting over my own ego and not caring what other people think, and realizing that this was something that I felt in my heart. It was something that I knew I needed to do, and I would regret it if I didn't. And I realized that like, unless I gave it 100% effort, I was never going to get 100% back from it. And it's crazy because within like a month or 2 months of me giving it 100% of my effort, I started to see so much come in. Like, I think it was, you know, obviously the hours I was putting in and the time, so I wasn't splitting my time, but then also just like my energy going into it, I think was just so much better, and people were really receptive to that. And I started getting a lot more, you know, like brand deals, like with my content creation side of my business. And I just think my energy shifted. So I think a lot of the time it's like getting out of your own way and realizing that, like, you know, you're young, like regardless of what age you are, you're young enough to make a change. And like, can you live your life without even trying it? And I knew, and this was confirmed when I quit my job by the head of my group that I quit to, I knew that I had a really great education and a really great work experience, and that I could get hired in a similar job, no problem, especially in the finance world. A lot of women, when they start families, they leave and don't come back. And so they're always looking for women like, you know, a few years ahead of me to rejoin. And the head of my group said this when I left, like, you know, if this doesn't work out for you, I think he was confused too. He was like, so what are you going to do when you quit? Like, what's your time going to be spent on? But he said, like, you know, you can always get a job in corporate, you know, Canada. Like, that's always going to be an option. So like, do you? And arguably now, I think I'm more employable having run my own business now for several years than I was before. Cause I was like in corporate lending money to businesses, whether for growth or acquisitions or, you know, a bunch of different things. And I feel like now as a business owner, I actually can like relate to what my clients are doing so much more. And I feel like I have so many more skills, not just in finance, but in like marketing and tech and like, you know, all these different things that I actually teaching think yourself. I'm teaching myself everything. It's like this is exactly what it is. I feel like I got an MBA, like, but I started a business instead. Right. So, I feel like I'm more employable. If things were to all go, you know, to shit and like this wasn't to work out, I'm more employable with the skills I have now than I was 2 years ago.
And that's, you know what, like I think that that's the thing. It's the fear of failing that people don't go ahead and pursue.
Yeah.
I don't know, their side hustles that they've like really been itching at getting to after work every day or whatever it is. So many people run to do whatever their side gig is after work, or so many people have a bunch of different things that they want to do, but they can't fully commit because of their corporate job. But I like that advice you just gave. Like, you have a degree, or a lot of people out there who want to do this, they have degrees probably. Even if you don't, you have work experience. Corporate Canada will always be there 100%. That's for sure. So you can always go back and find a job somewhere. So I think that that's like great advice.
Yeah, it's the fear of failure and also the fear of what other people will think. And the fear of failure, you know, like you just talked about, but the fear of what other people will think, it takes a long time to get there, but you just can't give a fuck because they're not living your life. Like, you have to live your life. And you have to wake up happy every day. And so what your grandma or aunt or friend or whatever thinks of you is none of your business. And now all the people who doubted me and said, like, are you sure this is crazy? Now they're all like, oh, you live the best life. You can work from anywhere. It's like, and you're doing the thing that you love and all these things. And it's like, yeah. What about 2 years ago when you thought I was crazy?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I feel like if you come from a traditional, I don't want to just say Italian, but maybe like European family, or I don't know, just a very traditional family in general. Yeah. Can you imagine like telling them like, yeah, I'm going to quit my really good job according to like society
on paper
to go on paper to go and do something that like I love to do as a hobby right now. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, you're like, fucked. Like, no. So I totally agree. Cause I can imagine myself telling my family that and they'd be like, what the hell, you know? Were you gonna say something?
No.
Okay, I want to kind of shift gears to the way that you kind of define your program and the way you go about fitness, and it's a holistic approach, correct?
Totally.
So when we were reading over just your stuff and looking at your Instagram page, it was like a holistic approach as opposed to just an aesthetic-based approach to fitness. Can you explain that narrative and notion and why that's important as opposed to just trying to be fit or working out solely for the fact that you want to look good?
Totally. It's all about, my approach is all about feeling really good. It's all about focusing on the benefits of working out that are like how you feel. So like working out because it gives you energy, because it gives you mental clarity, because it helps you sleep better and just feel better overall. Not what you look like, because it takes a really, really, really long time to actually physically see like aesthetic results from your workouts. And if you're just focused on the aesthetic, you're not going to be consistent, because every day you're going to look and be like, I worked out for 30 minutes or 45 minutes and I don't see the physical changes. So like, why would I work out tomorrow? Right? It just becomes really hard to motivate yourself, to stay disciplined, to stay consistent when you're focused on the aesthetic. But if you shift it and you focus on how exercise can impact all the other areas of your life and how you feel, which then impacts every other area of your life, your relationships, your work, everything, you will actually stick to it. Because you'll wake up and be like, like, do I want to work out today? I don't know, maybe yes, no. And then you're like, right, I know I feel so much better and I'm so much more focused at work and like energized and like on my A game for that meeting I have later. So like, let me get a quick little workout in. So it's like shifting the focus away from what you look like. You can also be incredibly strong and incredibly fit and or people can be incredibly strong and incredibly fit and be a wide variety of like shapes and sizes and weights and all the things. So I'm all about taking those things away and really focusing on working out because of how it makes you feel on the inside. And that's going to make every area of your life better.
I agree with that a lot. And I feel like in my own personal experience, I've been working out for years as well. And like, I focus a lot on weightlifting because for me, that's what works. But there is this like kind of cycle that I can fall into sometimes where I'm like, okay, like I'm kind of plateauing and I'll get obsessed because I don't look any different after I've been working out for this long, you know, like I'll look different and then I'll be happy, but then I want to look more different and improve more. And I'm like, hey, fuck, what's going on? Like, I'm not improving. And you kind of can fall into this like vicious cycle of almost like body dysmorphia, where like, you're like, oh my God, I look like shit, but I'm working out every day. And then that turns into under eating and overworking and all of that. So I think that this holistic approach is super important because for me, ever since I've started implementing, like you said, going to the gym before work every morning, I feel like it's just a natural thing that I do now because I'm doing it for me. Like I'm taking care of like myself. Like even if it's not a crazy workout, if it's just a low impact workout, I'm still doing it for myself, you know? So like I appreciate that you come at your programs with that narrative.
No, I agree. And like you, oh, sorry, no, continue.
I was going to say, I feel like a lot of people have this approach to working out that's super all or nothing. Like if you don't have time for an hour workout, then, why do it at all? And I completely disagree with that. I think like any little bit of movement is amazing because of how it makes you feel. And because if you do it, you know, if you do even 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you keep that consistency and that routine and you just like get into a good groove. And not only is that great, you know, for your energy, mental health, and all the things that I just talked about, but keeping your routine also helps you gain confidence. Like the way you build confidence is deciding to do something and then actually following through. So if you like start that with your workouts, like, okay, I'm going to do a 10-minute workout, and then you actually do it, then you're like, yeah, okay. And you build a little confidence. Then you do it again. And you're like, okay, damn, like I'm on a bit of a roll. And you continue to build that confidence, and that too will go into every other area of your life, because that's what it's really like. That's what I want my community to feel, is strong and confident and energized, so that they can, you know, take those feelings and then every area of their life is like improved by that.
Right. And like, it's a lifestyle, right? Like you also have the notion of no sacrifices. So that would mean that you would just be integrating fitness and working out and like nutrition foods into part of your lifestyle. That way that you don't have to sacrifice like hours and hours of time of your day to get like the best workout in every day. And you don't have to sacrifice like foods you love. You can have a fucking donut here and there, you know?
And then at that point, when you do sacrifice, it feels like a chore working out, and like you don't want to do it anymore because it's like, fuck, like I ate like shit today, or I didn't eat enough today, so like I'm not going to work out. Do you know what I mean? So I think I love your approach, because it looks at fitness as like a like a lifestyle or mindset rather than just like a chore or like something that you need to do.
Yeah, my tagline is no sacrifices, and specifically in the summer, which is, I find, typically like a period of time where people feel a lot of pressure with their bodies to like get bikini ready and all these things. So in the summer, it's no sacrifice summer, and the rest of the year, no sacrifices. But it's really all about doing the things that make you happy and incorporating your wellness routine into that. So you don't have to sacrifice, you know, going for brunch or having pizza or having cocktails. Like I drink alcohol like often, and my whole community knows that. I don't think you have to sacrifice that to be healthy, but also incorporate workouts that fuel you and incorporate other like mindful things that fuel you. I've started just this year in 2022 journaling every morning, and I'm, you know, I'll journal in the morning and then I'll work out, and then later that day I'll have 6 margaritas with my friends, and like that's okay. Like I think people really feel like it has to be this all or nothing thing, or, you know, from Monday through Friday you're super clean and then on weekends you like go crazy. It's like, no, like take the pressure off yourself and just like let yourself live a little bit and enjoy the things that you love. Now, like, I'm not saying go crazy, because no sacrifices also means don't sacrifice your body and have you feel like shit. Like, you know, if you know 6 margaritas is too much for you, then don't do it. Like it's fine for me, but for some people 6 margaritas is too much. Maybe you stick to 3, but you still go out. I think like a great example is people are like, oh, well, I'm not going to go out to this event because I don't want to drink tonight. And it's like, well, that to me sounds like a sacrifice. Like, what about if you just go and you have 2 drinks instead of like 6 or 7, you know? Or I'm not going to work out because I don't have an hour. It's like, well, that's a sacrifice too. Like, why don't you work out and do like a 15-minute something? You'll feel better and then move on with your day. You know?
And sorry, one more thing just on this topic, because I really honestly resonate with this, because I struggled for so long with like before I started working, like I graduated in 2020. So, right? Yeah. Oh my God, that seems so long ago. But Oh, sorry. This Zoom call is like, this never happened before. Why is it saying it's running out in 10 minutes?
I don't know.
Okay, well, we have 10 minutes. That's okay. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I graduated in 2020. And before, like while I was in school, I could take so much time to work out. I just had more time. I didn't have responsibilities and as many bills as I have now to like really think about things and be stressed out. So I would take hours to work out and it was fine. But now when I started working and I've had more responsibilities and just more things going on, I at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, like this is ruining everything. And then I would live for the weekends. So like I would just go hard during the week, almost like burn myself out. And then on the weekends, go hard in a different way. Like whether it's like drinking or like partying or eating out, almost like a binge kind of. And it was just a really bad cycle. So I really like your approach again because of that. Like it truly resonates with me. So I encourage everybody to live by this approach.
No, yeah, I agree. I want to, because we're running out of time quickly, I want to talk about you mentioned bikini body. So I know a lot of influencers use that to promote their programs, right? Like, oh, get bikini body ready. But I feel like that kind of alludes to the fact that like women have to fit like a specific category of like a body type or look a certain way in order to be like bikini ready. Like, why can't I be bikini ready just the way I am? You know what I mean? Like, so I want to know what your like viewpoint is on that, or your kind of opinion on that, on the term bikini body.
Well, my view is that you are bikini body ready anytime you put on a fucking bikini. Like, I think this whole, it's like all a marketing thing. And I think it really has fucked with people a lot. And my perspective is you are bikini ready whenever you want to put on a bikini and go to the beach, pool, lake, whatever. And just instead of focusing on like trying to fit in a certain, you know, a certain shape or size or weight or bikini, take care of yourself and through your workouts and through all your other good habits, and you will feel confident in your body regardless of the size. Because how you feel, like, have you ever felt really shitty and then you do a workout and you look at your body after and you're like, damn, yeah. Like your body didn't change in 40 minutes or an hour, but the way you feel about it did. And because you've just gotten stronger, you've gained confidence, really, like you're proud of yourself, you did your workout. And so it's like, if you focus on those feelings instead, like you'll feel really good regardless of how, you know, what your weight, shape, size is or whatever in a bikini.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I think it kind of goes back to the holistic thing, right? Like influencers are now trying to backtrack, or like fitness gurus are trying to backtrack and eliminate the whole like bikini body words, like verbiage from their programs or from whatever they're talking about in their posts. But the whole notion of a lot of these programs that I see online is really like shed fat, focus on losing
or
fat.
Even like hourglass, get the hourglass figure.
So like, even though they're not using the terms bikini body, the whole thing just alludes to the fact that like it's fat phobia kind of.
And I think it could mess with your self-esteem. Somebody like me, I've always had like an athletic frame. I've played soccer for so many years, track. I've always been very lean, like no body fat on my body kind of. So when I first started working out, like I was more lean of like a body figure, and I see these programs like Hourglass, get Hourglass. So I was like, I want an ass. So I'm going to do this program. So I would do it. And then like, I feel like it just wasn't for me, or the changes I was having in my body. Like, okay, my bum grew or my legs grew, but I still didn't look like an hour, because that's just not my frame. And that's just not how my body operates. So, over time I've learned to like do workouts or just do things for my body that will fit my body type. So I feel like using any sort of verbiage that relate, like that goes back to a specific body type is not healthy and not mentally healthy for people.
Agreed. And you'll never hear me use those kinds of terms in my workouts or on social media or anything.
I love
that. Nothing about like fat loss or thigh gap, like things like
hip
this,
dips.
like hip dips, like never like earn your cake you're going to eat tonight in today's workout, like never anything like that. It's always really positive encouragement and like really focused on you do what feels really right for you. In my workouts, I always say, take a break if you need to, but only if you need to. And like actually listen to your body. Don't be lazy. Like you can, but take a break if you need to, and then join back in when you need to as well. There's no need to like kill ourselves here. Like listen to your own body. So I'll always say like positive encouragement like that. I'll never be like, do this to, you know, to earn your drinks tonight or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like that's just so not me. And I get a lot of really good feedback on that, because there are a lot of people out there that I think bring people down, like trainers bring people down, and maybe for some people it is. But for me and my community, like I would hate nothing more if someone said to me, like if I was at a class and they were like, you know, if it's Christmas is coming up, like get like, you know, burn these calories so that you can like enjoy your holiday party. Like, no.
Right. You should be able to enjoy it regardless.
Exactly. And I actually had a few like not so great experiences early on in my fitness journey at a few studios that that helped shape this perspective of mine, where I being like, ew, like I feel so shitty leaving this and I should be feeling really good. So I'm never going to use the kind of, you know, words and encouragement that they've used. And that's really important to me. It's like a very safe space to work out with me, regardless of experience working out or body type or anything.
That's cool. I really like that. No, and I want to go back to A Sculpt Body right now because we're running out of time. Again, sorry. I don't know. This has never happened on my Zoom before, but I guess I need to upgrade. How can people can find you on your website, correct? You have different programs, or is it a bunch of different videos? How can they really get into it?
You just cut out a little bit.
Oh, am I good now?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit, but I think I got the gist of it.
Am I good now?
Okay. Yeah. So I have my online fitness platform, asculptbody.com, which has over 200 amazing low impact workouts. I have a 7-day free trial, so you can join as a monthly or an annual member, do 7 days for free. And I have like, you can do any workout on my site, but then I also have a weekly schedule that I release every single week to give people some guidance. And during the summer, it's going to be all quickie workouts, all like 10-15 minutes, max 20. So it's like you can get your workout in and then like move on with enjoying your life this summer.
Enjoying your day.
Yeah. And then I also, every couple months, I do like I call them non-challenges, because I hate like all these fitness like challenges, like the quote, you know, challenges. They're so intense and they put so much pressure on you, and it's like work out every day for 30
they're usually
days,
impossible. Like
yes, it's like work out every day for 30 days, and like it's like no, like I hate that so much. So I actually call them non-challenges. And I usually give people like an alternative to working out that you could do instead if you wake up one day and like don't feel very good. Something else that would be like good for you and your mind or your body or whatever.
cool.
Yeah. So your audience should check it out. asculptbody.com, and on Instagram and TikTok, I am Alessias Sculpt.
Okay, guys, so that was our episode with Alessia. She's so nice and just like real, and you know what really hit me was going from a job like she had in finance, which is a lot of people's like dream job. You spend thousands and thousands of dollars in school to be able to get a job like that, to her finding a love for fitness. Like, I don't want to say later on in life, like she's already, like she's, you know, young, but I mean like she didn't always love fitness. She found a love for fitness through such a beautiful thing that was like her mother. And she transitioned out of this corporate like environment that was toxic to her to this a really successful business. Like,
I just
it's
really
inspiring
like how she's very positive about her clients too. Like, no, like the verbiage she uses and the way that she like promotes her stuff. It's not like the typical thing you see where it's like, again, build an ass, get a small waist, get a thigh gap kind of thing, or like those challenges. So I don't know. I really liked it. I really liked her point of view on things and her approach. So I hope you guys enjoy. Again, make sure to check out her Instagram, her website, her link. We're going to link all those things in the pod notes, or the, what's it called? Description. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.